Night. A man who has it all despite having lost everything. A man of brilliance. A man of justice. I'm your host, Pariah.
And I'm your host, Lavax.
And this is Card Composers. Tell them who today's card is, X.
Today's card is the world's greatest detective,
the Batman. Tonight is a card composer first. Cards that transform. Tell us about your Bruce Wayne, X.
All right, so the front of my card is Bruce Wayne, Gotham Aristocrat. It costs a colorless, a hybrid white-black, and a blue. For a legendary creature, human noble, rare, 2/3.
All right, Bruce Wayne being a 2/3. I could see it. He's got very strong combat skills.
Right, so he's a defender. You know, it's Bruce Wayne. He's not going to go out there beating people up on the streets unless he has to.
That's for his alter ego to handle.
Exactly.
He defends himself, but no, he ain't the one throwing the punches.
Exactly. Whenever a creature enters under another player's control, investigate. And whenever an opponent commits a crime, put a brood counter on this card. At the beginning of the end step, if there are 2 or more brood counters on this card, transform it.
Alrighty, so technically, you could have Bruce Wayne and the Dark Knight on the field at the same time, because you'd have a transformed one, and then you could just have another Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I guess they're different legendary creatures. That's true.
I mean, technically, yeah. Also, just for the viewer who is not familiar with the investigate mechanic, you create a clue token that I think you pay, what, 2 sacrifice? And...
Pay 2 sacrifice to draw a card.
Yeah, pay 2 sack and draw
You don't have to tap it, which is interesting.
All right. I do like the 2 brood counters.
And he transforms at the end of the turn, kind of like Batman only shows up at night. They could have gone in some day-night cycle thing, but
I thought about day-night cycles for mine as well, but it's such a pain to track.
It is. It's just as much of a pain as having to actually run these cards in Magic, since sleeves. So he transforms into the Dark Knight, legendary creature, human knight, 4/3. He has Fear, First Strike, and Exalted.
I'm very upset that I didn't give my Batman Fear, because that is his whole thing.
It's the shtick. Yeah, I gave him Intimidate at first, and then I was like, I'm going to make it Fear. I mean, it's the
honestly,
same thing.
He could have Intimidate, and it would be literally the same thing.
So the difference on Intimidate would be that if he has Intimidate, blue creatures could block him, right?
Oh, that's right.
Because he has Fear, only black or artifact creatures can block him. Despite the fact that he's blue, white, and black.
If he had Intimidate, he would be way worse, actually.
Well, generally, like, creatures with Fear are black anyway, so, so if the creature that was black with Intimidate, it would be the same thing, but...
And the only one he's attacking anyways are, like, evil creatures, so that works out.
Yep, and then the Exalted is since, I work alone. He says with his giant family of people that help him fight people.
I work alone, he says to the Bat family.
And then his bottom ability is whenever an opponent commits a crime, the Dark Knight deals 2 damage to that player.
And yeah, it kind of makes sense for him to only deal the damage when someone's committed a crime. All right, now on to my Batman. I had the Twist to Transform card that were made famous by the Kamigawa set that everyone loved and nobody hated at all.
I know one person who loves it.
Me! I mean, I'm a weeaboo and shit. Alrighty. Bruce Wayne, billionaire. A white, a blue, and a black. For a 2/2 legendary human noble. Equipment you control costs 3 less to cast. If 2 or more creatures are in your graveyard during your turn, transform Bruce Wayne.
I completely misread the first thing as making your equip cost 3 less. This card, it's better than I thought.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Wayne is the man who buys all the equipment. Once you transform him, he transforms into Batman, the Dark Knight, legendary human knight, if that sounds familiar. I should have made him a detective, now that I'm thinking about it, but he's been referred to as a knight so many times. I also probably couldn't wedge detective into the creature types, because it would just scrunch up the letters, like, ridiculously so. The Dark Knight has First Strike, Reach, and equip abilities that target Batman cost 2 less to cast. Oh, and he's a 2/3.
Question.
All right, go for it. Questions are always welcome here at Card Composers.
So, Bruce Wayne's bottom ability says that if 2 or more creatures are in your graveyard during your turn, transform him.
Yep.
So, you cast Bruce Wayne. There's 2 creatures in your graveyard. When you cast them, he immediately flips?
Yes. That is I will say it is a weakness that the card has, but ain't nothing I can do about that. Oh well.
I mean, you could say
For
at the
shame.
beginning of your upkeep, at the end of your turn. But okay, yeah, I was just trying to make sure I understand it correctly. So you pay 3, and I always look like an asshole on this because I'm always meticulous. But you're paying 3 for a 2/2, and when he flips, you pay 3 different color mana for a legendary 2/3 that has first strike and reach.
Well, the implication is that if you don't get fucked over by 2 creatures being in your graveyard immediately, that equipment you control costs 3 less to cast. So you could get like some good ass equipment on the field, like at a very low cost. And then when Batman's in the field, all that equipment you got, way easier to equip to Batman. So now he's not just a 2/3 first strike reach. He could have whatever the equipment's granting him.
Okay.
He's got all this equipment. Every movie. It's not that he's the best fighter, because a lot of times he does get his ass handed to him. Fight all the stuff. He's still a man. So he needs all these little extra gadgets and stuff.
I like that. I like the equipment being with him. I do like that. And Bruce Wayne obviously is a billionaire, so he can buy all the equipment you want, which is why they cost less.
Yeah.
So it's pretty flavorful. I like it. I don't have any complaints on this card. It's pretty good. I feel like you're not getting a whole lot for 3 mana, but you're right. If you don't have 2 creatures in your graveyard, those equipment are very cheap. You can just, I mean, you're playing most of them for free. Or
I mean, yeah. How much do the legendary swords cost? 3 apiece. Oh, free legendary sword.
If they're in your hand.
If they're in your hand. But
yeah, that's true. On turn 3, you play Bruce Wayne, and then you can play all the legendary swords you have, and then you flip them over and just attach them all to Batman.
I suppose
you pretty much win.
I suppose if you really want to make sure you can get Bruce Wayne onto the battlefield without any hiccups, you'd run a card that would exile your own graveyard or something.
That's true. He hates seeing dead bodies. It immediately makes him put on the bat suit.
Yeah.
Also, you could have 2 of these at the same time, a Bruce Wayne and a Batman.
Yeah.
Actually, you can't because he'll always transform. You're right. You can never have it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you play the second one, it'll automatically transform.
And that feels more flavorful, actually.
Does it?
It does, because it's like, I got Bruce Wayne. Where's Batman? I don't know. You got Batman? Where's Bruce Wayne? I don't know.
He gets people to play a fake Batman all the time so that you can't tell Bruce Wayne and him are always apart. All the time. He'll have Alfred fly around or pretend to be in the bat suit. I think that's flavorful. You know what's not flavorful? Every time Bruce Wayne shows up, he immediately transforms a Batman, and then one of the Batman dies, which causes him to continue transforming because now a Batman is in the graveyard. If you play a second one and he transforms, it kills Batman. Batman kills himself. He just commits suicide.
Well, if you think about it this way, Batman sees himself as Batman and Bruce Wayne as his real disguise. Once you got 2 creatures in the graveyard, he's always Batman. Bruce Wayne's just the disguise. There was a time where someone tried to read his mind, and they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Batman." What is your true identity? Batman.
I mean, I do believe that. That's true.
All right, on to the next card.
All right, so my support card for Batman is Batman's Utility Belt. It's a 3 colorless cost artifact equipment, and it's rare.
I feel like you should have had the crotch more in the shot.
I tried to particularly have less of the crotch in the shot, but I will send you a custom card that's full bulge.
All right. I can't wait for the belt crotch variant.
Yeah, that's the chase.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one they're
the
going to want.
The chase rare belt crotch.
It's the special Japanese foil. It's worth an extra $1. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature and choose one. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is unblockable until end of turn. Or equipped creature gets +0/+1 and gains reach until end of turn. And equipped for 2, colorless.
Oh, each combat. So that works out.
He's always prepared, and he always has a gadget for the right moment. So he untaps on everyone's turn, so he could attack on my turn, block on yours, or on if it's multiplayer game, he could block against everybody and gain probably reach against all the opponents, I assume, and they would probably take unblockable on my turn. Or
he does stay beating creatures that are insanely more powerful than he is.
The kicker here is that it untaps at every combat, so he's always untapped on everyone's turn, and he gets a little buff.
This would get real crazy if you had multiple combats.
Oh, that's true, because he would untap again and keep gaining more abilities.
Or you could just keep stacking. It's like each combat, Batman's a little more powerful. I'm learning. I've learned from this combat how to defeat you.
That's true. I do like that.
I do wish cards that did more combats weren't so physically expensive.
Oh, like monetary expensive?
Like monetary, like real world money expensive. On to the last card. My card. No kill rule. A white, a black, and a green. For a rare enchantment. Creatures you control have Undying. Creatures your opponents control have Persist. I think we're destined to do this forever.
I love this card. It's brilliant. This might be your magnum opus, Pariah.
It is also the biggest problem I have with Batman. You're a delay, you save some people, but there's stuff you could do to certainly, permanently save people. Get a little
It's
bit
true.
of neck snap action. That'd be nice. That's one thing I liked about the Batman v Superman Batman. It takes place after he's been Batman at least a decade, and he doesn't give a shit anymore, so anyone that gets in his way, he just fucking kills him. A lot of people were like, oh, Batman doesn't kill? Oh, no! But there was like an entire comic where he does kill, and I'm pretty sure that's what that Batman was based off of.
If I had to have a criticism on this card, and I love the flavor of it would be that I think 3 mana is probably too steep. But, I mean, that's subjective.
Undying is actually very strong.
Yeah, but you're giving your opponent... It is strong, but you're giving all your opponent's creatures persist, which is also strong, just not as strong as Undying. All of your opponent's creatures come back to life. Wow, you might be setting yourself up for failure, even if you have Undying.
Yeah, but it's like a two difference point.
I get that, but my creatures didn't come back at all. Now they do. You just started having my creatures come back. They didn't used to come back at all. So that's automatically a net negative for you. I understand it's not as good as Undying, but you're still giving me something. Especially if they have enter the battlefield effects.
That's true, but there are ways you can build around this to where, shoot, if I ran this in my counters deck, or I could run this in either of my Golgari decks, I'd have to splash white in. My minus counters deck, this would be benefited because it puts -1/-1 counters on your creatures. Or my +1/+1 counter deck, which doubles the effect of 1/1 counters on my creatures. I feel like this is a very useful card.
Oh,
I would
agree.
happily run this in any 3-color deck. Almost.
Yeah, I mean the card's great. I was just saying, if it costs 2, I wouldn't be angry. But you're going to build your deck around having Undying, so you're probably not going to care.
And in a game of Commander,
Oh,
you could run an entire deck of giving them -1/-1 counters, and your guys +1/+1 counters.
yeah, with all your friends playing Commander. Let's just flip a coin and see who wins now, and save each other the hour of looking around.
Well, that's our show for today. Questions, comments, concerns? Let us know at P.O. Box below this video, and let us know which card you think was best in show. Tell me, Axe, what card do you think was best in show?
Well, Pariah, I really like your no-kill rule card. I think it's outrageously flavorful, and I am a big fan. But I think my Bruce Wayne Dark Knight card slightly edges it out.
Go fuck yourself, Axe.
Which card was your favorite?
Well, clearly my no-kill rule card was my favorite. I love Undying and Persist. They're very fun abilities. This is a card that I would like to run in one of my decks, which will be exciting if we ever do draft all this. Got any hints for next week's card, Axe?
Not right now, Pariah. I'm just so hungry. I wish I had a personal chef, but I just have to stick with DoorDash.
Oh, man, imagine if Batman delivered DoorDash in the Batmobile.
Damn, that would be awesome. What make and model do you think would show up on the app?
You see what he does with that thing. It's probably like a Ram. See?